Hello and welcome to another Fairhope Library Makerspace Maker Monday video. Today we're going to do something kind of silly and fun. We're going to make a kitty cat. Oh, he's so cute. I made this little guy for a friend of mine who just got here yesterday. New little guy named Magnus. Welcome to the world, dude. As soon as I get this video shot, you're gonna get this little guy. Now, Magnus is only, well, when you see this, he'll be less than a week old still. And that's the cool thing about this particular toy. Even though it's small and everything, it doesn't have any buttons. It doesn't have any snaps or anything. It's just a sock. So it's pretty safe for little kids as long as you make sure your knots are all good and everything. So as you can see, our little guy here, he has a cute little face. He's got whiskers and eyes and a little nose. He's got his little feet down here at the bottom and his tail. And there's his ears sewn in there. This was made from a child's sock. You can kind of see this is where the toe was. So, you know, everybody has socks laying around. I have some right here, but not all socks are good for this project. This sock is super cute and everything, but because we have Kitty right there, it's not gonna work so well when we make that into a kitty cat, because this design will interfere with the little face that we're going to put on there. Same for this one, you know. Maybe you could go on the back, but there's another problem with socks that have been worn. They're kind of dirty on the bottom there, so they don't always look so great. If you want to try bleaching them, maybe that would work. I don't want to use this the way it is because that would be a kind of gross toy to give somebody. This one is pretty new. It didn't get worn a whole lot, but we did manage to lose the mate. So we're going to go ahead and make this into our kitty cat. Our kitty cat is going to have gray fur with little blue ears. Maybe we can call it a blue tip Siamese. So to make your sock cat, we're going to put that guy over here. You stay there. The first thing you're going to do is flatten your sock out like this, and we're going to cut it right at the heel here, right across the heel. All right. So you can actually use this great little thing right here. I'm going to trim that up later and use it as a ponytail holder or hair tie. It's perfect size. So put that aside for now. So you've got this bit, and the next thing we're going to do is make the ears. So turn your sock inside out. It looks like that. And then fold it in half. This way you know your ears will be pretty even and you won't have a weird lopsided cat. I know some of our cats are lopsided in real life, but we're going to go for the best possible balanced looking cat we can find. So what you're going to do here, I'm going to draw it first instead of just freehanding it. You're going to make a triangle here and then cut right above the toe seam. So we're going to go cut, cut, cut right across there. Like so. There you go. So you end up with this. Starting to look like a cat. Oh my goodness, already. So the next thing we're going to do is sew this seam. Now, for those of you who have watched my hand sewing videos before, you already know my nifty little secret about the knotless knot, but I'm going to show you again because it's cool. So get yourself a nice long piece of thread, not longer than your nose to your hand. Put the two ends together. Needle your thread. so that you have a double thread here. But instead of putting a knot at the open end, what we're going to do is make this loose end our tail. Let's line it up a little bit better than that. And when you start, all right, for the first stitch, you're going to go through and then catch the loop back here to make the knotless knot. All right, so now we're just going to sew this up. I'm not going to make you do too much work here, but you have to sew it pretty close together because that's the way the stuffing is going to stay in. All right. Once you get to the end up here, you're going to tie it off, make a little knot. And trim it. And then we're going to turn this little guy right side out. And at this point, you're going to want a pencil or a pen. So you can poke his ears out really good. Make them nice and pointy. Cute. See, he's already starting to look like a little cat, sort of. All right. Next thing we're gonna do is fill him up with stuffing. Now, I happen to have a pillow that was destroyed, so I have all of this cotton fiber fill, but you could use rags cut up in very small pieces, or you could even use dryer lint, which sounds a little weird, but you start saving that up, it builds up pretty fast, and you end up getting something you can stuff things with. Now, if you have animals at home, and who doesn't? I know some of you don't. If you have animals at home and you're using the dryer lint, what's going to happen is little cat hairs are going to end up poking out of here that you can, you know, have loads of fun pulling out. So as you can see, I am poking my stuffing way up in here, especially for the ears, because I want to make sure the ears get nice and pointy.
So you should be using a baby sock or a small child sock for this cat, and they're not big, right? But it's actually astonishing how much fiber fill you can get into one of these things. Socks are knit fabric. They're meant to stretch over our feet. So even when you think you've got enough stuffing, just keep putting more in. And then put in a little extra. The more stuffing you have, the better your little kitty chonk will look.
So the next step, now that we've got this dude thoroughly stuffed, next step is we're going to be sewing up his bottom end there. If you want to, this is not completely necessary, but if you want to, you can take a clean milk cap or bottle cap or something and put it in there and then sew around it, because it'll give it a little bit of stability, flatness, once you actually get it sewn. All right, so let's close him up. All right, so let me show you something interesting when you're using this kind of fabric that has a loose weave. So let's say I just want to do my regular old knot here. There's a knot like you would normally do. can do this, but sometimes what happens is it pulls right out because the fabric is so loose. It's a loose weave. So what you might want to do is do that knotless knot again, even on a knotted piece of thread, because it's going to hold on to itself and stay put and not go through the fabric. And I just unthreaded my needle, so hang on a minute. So your knotless knot is going to stay put. It's not going to go through the fabric. So I'm going to go straight up here and pull the, oops, my dude fell out. I'm going to go straight up here and pull that and give it another little stitch for good measure. And now I'm going to go over here and go over here. See what I'm doing here? I'm going to give it another stitch for stability. Pull, get it together, guys. You might have to hold it a little bit here. Gonna grab this one. Gonna grab this one. And then these other two corners. All right. Now I'm going to stitch the heck out of it so that we can make it a little bit neater and so it stays closed. And catch any open sides that we might have. At some point in the history of the internet, the word chonk started being used to refer to any really fat animal that was cute because it was fat. Then some wise guy or gal obviously spent too much time in their vet's waiting room studying the cat weight chart, and a new meme genre was born. Now chonk seems to be mostly used in reference to cats. If you Google the word chonk, you'll get a lot of silly things that will make you giggle. There's even a Facebook community for lovers of kitty chonks called This Cat is Chonky. It's very popular with a membership of about 800,000 people. It's so popular, in fact, that Facebook has featured it in one of their ads for community pages that they put up in large cities. Now I'm going to knot it by doing a little loop there, going straight back into where I just stitched. I'm going to hold this thread here while I pull the needle out the other side, and that knot just about goes away. Alright, so now our cat is able to sit. He's kind of wonky still. The good thing about this is that that cotton in there, or whatever you use, you can mush it around quite a bit so that it sits the way you want it to. Alright, so we've got our basic cat shape. This is where the heel was. That's why it's kind of rounded over here. So that's where we're going to make our tail. So this part's kind of fun. The way you make the tail, you decide where you want to start, and you just start stitching back and forth sort of beneath the surface there, and it ends up pulling up this nice little bundle. Now this one I feel like is a little bit skinny. I've got a fat boy here, so I'm going to make his tail thicker to start. You're going to pull the, you're going to make a wider stitch than you expect, like at least twice the width of what you end up with here, because it gets quite small. So let's get some more thread. Now for this point, you might want to use thread that is about the same color as your sock there so that it's hidden. You can't see the stitches. This is pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I'm going to use that. All right, so again, I'm going to use the fat side over here for my dude's tail. I've got my new piece of thread here with the loop over here at the end because I've doubled it, and I'm going to do a knotless knot down here at the base of my kitty cat's booty. Right down here. Going to catch that loop so that it is anchored. And like I said, I'm going to go quite a bit over here. I think I'm going to draw it for you right quick just so you can see it very lightly. And to keep myself on track. So here's his tail. I think he's going to have a nice little question mark tail. There's one side of it. Now here's the other side. So that's very thick there. And I'm hoping it's thick enough. I'm a little nervous because this is a big guy. I don't want him to have a weirdly skinny tail. All right, so what I'm doing is going through the fabric under here, kind of diving in and then going up on the other side of the line I marked. I'm just going to do that all the way along. You can already see where it's pulling. And the reason I'm diving in like this rather than going straight across, I'm diving in because that way you can pull up some of that cotton batting so you get a nice thick tail. All right, so you can see already it's pulling. Just do that over the length of your tail. Keep these stitches pretty close together. You can always go in later and make more if you want to. All right, so there's my dude's tail. I'm going to go back along here and just define this line a little bit better. And now I'm going to tie it off. Have a nice little French knot. A really teeny tiny, it's not really a French knot, but you do kind of make a knot and go through there. Hold on to this end, pull your needle through. That's a pretty serviceable knot. All right, so there's our dude's tail. It's still got a little skinny on the end, but you know, looks pretty good. All right, that's what he looks like now. Okay, time to do the paws. So you can see these two little guys, they're right next to each other. They're going to start really wide, and if you look carefully you can see how the fabric is stretching here. This ribbed fabric is designed to expand this way, so it's okay to go like really far, otherwise your little paws are going to be teeny tiny and they're going to look weird. So again, because this is such a big dude over here, this cat boy, he needs some big paws. All right, so to do the paws, what we're going to do is start at the top. It's like a miniature version of the tail. We're going to start at the top on the open side and then sew down. Start way over here. Make a mark for the middle so you remember where you're going, and then make these two marks way over here for the paws. So you remember where your sides are. It's pretty even. I'm happy with that. Once again, I'm going to anchor my thread. Start by catching that loop and just start into the paws. Next thing this little guy needs is a face. Now, if you notice, this one, it's got kind of this definition here. That is literally just from doing this and poking at it with your fingers and fingernails to make the cotton batting go where you want it to go. So I want to give him a little bit more of a defined head here. If you wanted to, you could definitely go in there with some thread and do some things to it. I don't want to get too crazy though. I'm just gonna squeeze him, because who does not like squeezing cats? I ask you. Squeeze them a little bit till you get the right space, and then decide where you're gonna put his little eyes and stuff. I always start with the nose because it's in the middle. So his nose is gonna be right about there. I'm gonna make myself a little triangle, and then give him his little wee mouth. He's got a smug little cat grin. His whiskers will start out somewhere here. This one, I feel like I started the whiskers too close to the mouth, so you don't really see his smile all the way. So I'm hoping to do better with this one. And then I'm gonna put his little kitty eyes over here. There's one. And you know why we do this thing where we, have the eyes like happy closed eyes? It's a total cop out because we don't want to draw eyes, because eyes are hard and scary. All right, there we go. That's gonna do just fine. He's gonna look super cute. I'm gonna make our little guy have a pink nose because I think that looks cute. Gonna anchor again at the bottom of the triangle. Catch that loop. And right now what you're going to do is just do lines across carefully all the way up, teeny tiny bit wider each time. So now that we've got his nose all sewn on, I'm going to start with his mouth. And I've got some black thread because I think it shows up pretty well against that dark gray. Going to make my secret knot right here at the base of the nose so I can do the mouth. So last night I started reading Beezus and Ramona to my kids. Alright, so we're going to start just a little back stitch here to make his little face. As I was saying, started reading Beezus and Ramona last night, and there's a part in the very beginning where Beezus is embroidering, and she's trying to hide her stitches like a secret, not her stitches, hide her knots like a secret, because that's what her grandmother had told her when she was teaching her how to sew. And she's a little frustrated because, in addition to the fact that Ramona is, bugging the heck out of her because she's on her tricycle with a harmonica riding around the room, in addition to that, her knots keep slipping through the fabric because she's trying to do these really tiny knots to hide them like a secret. And I wanted so badly to say, Beezus, you have to learn to do the secret knot, the knotless knot that's not there, but I couldn't talk to her. She's in a book. There's his little mouth. I'm going to head on over to the eye now, traveling underneath the surface of the cat to the far end over here. Actually, I'm going to start here because I'm going to double up, just like I did with the mouth. Looks better. All right, let's see how that looks. It's okay. And you know what? I think I am going to go make some eyelashes just for the heck of it. So that might be kind of cute. Just little bitty ones. I don't want them to interfere with the whiskers after all. Make them longer than you think you need to. There we go. So that's some eyelashes over here. And now I'm going to travel over to the other eye and put some eyelashes in over there. There's those little eyelashes. Oh my gosh. So stinking cute. I think eyelashes are the easiest thing on this guy. All right, let's see what we got here. Next thing is whiskers. So I'm going to go back over here, over there by his mouth, make some whiskers. Here's one, and two. So here's our two little kitty cats, our little chonks, little chonk and medium chonk. And I say medium because I made another one. So I had this other sock and it was kind of a cool pattern. So I thought, hey, let me try to make a cat out of that. Plus it had a face on it already, but I don't know, y'all. I don't know if I like this cat or not. It's a little bit creepy. I'm thinking maybe it needs some embroidery or something to make it slightly less creepy. I don't know. But at any rate, here's our three little kitty cats. I had so much fun making these guys and sharing this technique with you. I really hope that some of y'all make some of these little kitty cat chunks out of your old socks. And if you do, please post them on the Facebook page for the Makerspace and let us all see the glorious little kitty cats that you made. And until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been an Fairhope Public Library Makerspace Maker Monday video. And now please go out and make something.